onwards and upwards. But hence my mate Lord Bath, because I got communicating with them, because I thought if he was going to be raised in the court papers, I ought to know about it. And his, what's the name? We all got chatting a bit. Anyway, so that's Farmers Head to Warminster and then down to Poole. Right, and because of this England thing, off I go again. Fed up with England, buy a small farm in Canada. Right, my mother's first cousin was a Spitfire pilot. So, and went off to Canada, Right, days in Toronto, Canada, then the College Hotel, Toronto, train to Winnipeg, which is another whole story I could go into. Hampton Inn there, Winnipeg, Manitoba, train to Churchill, which is where the polar bears are, and it happened to be polar bear season, and lo and behold, little old Francis again, he's at it, he's a bad boy. I didn't know this, but the Premier of Canada was up there visiting, right, because of this global warming, and it's where, when you go to railway, it takes 2 days, I think, 2 nights. Yep, to get there from Winnipeg. Extraordinary train journey, beautiful, great big, I love trains, you see, and whatever. 3,500 horsepower engines, 2 of them pulling this. So I could tell you stories about that one. But anyway, I am telling this story, which was that the police came and investigated me again because he's this funny man in a dress. Yeah, because the Premier was there. What was I doing there? Was I, yet and again a terrorist? And they did it to me in Vancouver as well. A Mountie. I was checked out by a Mountie at the airport. Fine. So I do know my stuff. I get it in the neck for wearing this Christian tunic. Churchill, Bear Country Inn, the police came, so I went to another one. Hotel Churchill, then I went back to Winnipeg, stayed with this fellow. Hampton Inn again, Winnipeg, train to Vancouver, which is again is a 2-night job. It's right on the west coast, so I paddled by 4s in the Pacific Ocean. Stayed at the WCA there as it happened, British Columbia. Got fed up with the trains, and I won't go into why, but they're called Via Rail because they've got to have pas français, this Canadian, French, English thing. Anyway, cashed my rail ticket back in, and I flew, which was actually cheaper, to Edmonton, Alberta, which was rubbish, loads of money, oil. Back to Winnipeg again, which is the central place of, they call it the key state of Canada. Still searching. Sudbury, Ontario, Ottawa, Montreal, can't stand it. Right, pissed off back to London. Can't stand England, so pissed off back to Cape Town. Yeah, well, I'd done that, so that didn't work out again, so back to London again, off to Dublin. Ireland, never been to Ireland myself, to be sure. Tralee, which was okay, on the west coast, County Kerry, but it just rained. Dublin, London, Lyme Regis, that was quite nice. London again. Now I'm off again to Armenia. So I chose Aeroflot because I thought that's the right airline to choose. So I did actually get to Moscow eventually. In Armenia, Yerevan, and then Lake Sievan, which is a beautiful, beautiful lake up in the mountains with all snow around and so cold, man, that wind. It was only about -5 or 10, but with the wind, I had all my clothes on. I even was wearing socks, and I never do, and my head wrapped up in my scarf and my woolly hat on, and blankets. I had a couple of airline blankets as well. I was all wrapped up in those as well, and it was so cold, man, with that wind. It really was. Next door there was a teaching. They were the first country to adopt Christianity as their national state religion in the year 301. I'd met an Armenian chap, particularly in Sweden, before at Uppsala. So I just thought, right, go there. This is New Year again. I'm useless at Christmas, New Year, because of my son. Christmas is an absolute shambles for me. Can't stand it. I just want to get through it. But that was a very powerful experience by that lake. There's Armenian Orthodox Church. That's what I'm trying to get out. There's Russian Orthodox, Greek Orthodox, and 1 or 2 others, I think, but Armenian Orthodox as well, which is again slightly different. 83 monks they were training. I went over and obviously chatted. I love you, my Lord, with all my heart, soul, mind, and just things.